Hey guys, so Blizzard just put out a blue post about primordial stones today, and I thought that we should go over it, because it seems like the player perception of these is still pretty bad. Everyone's still freaking out about this being borrowed power or domination shards 2.0, and after my experiences on the PTR and then reading this blue post, I'm even more confident now than I was before about this actually being a good system. And in fact, I think it's actually going to be kind of fun to mess around with. So let's go over what Blizzard had to say. So Kyvex, a community manager at Blizzard, posted on the forums, kind of going over the Onyx Annulet and the Primordial Stones and how we acquire them. So let's kind of read what he said. Quote, "We'd like to shed some light on the specifics of the features surrounding Primordial Stones and how they work. By questing in 10.0.7, you'll unlock the Viscera Vaults, which is a solo instance dungeon with some fun puzzles to solve. As you venture through, you'll acquire the Onyx Annulet ring and a bunch of primordial stones that can be socketed into it. These stones have trinket-like effects, and some also work together to create some spicy combinations. So already we get the confirmation that to acquire these stones, you're going to be going into the vault, which is soloable. This already kind of gets rid of the huge problem that domination shards had, because honestly I think the biggest problem with the domination shards was that the means of acquiring them was just really hard. You'd had to go into the raid to get them, and then even then it was, a small chance of getting the ones that you wanted to get. Honestly, I think if you could have gotten the domination shards from just running Torghast, and it had a pretty good drop chance, I think the shards would have had a lot better perception from the community. But after spending some time on the PTR and, running the vault by myself, I think it's pretty easy to do. This is nothing like Torghast. I ran the vault on my hunter, and my hunter's 409 item level, and I was just melting everything in my path. It was really easy. So then Kyvax goes on, when it comes to acquiring these, the Viscera Vaults are where you get the primordial stones, and these can be accessed with keys that you receive from rares and chests across the Forbidden Reach. The keys will be bind on account so that you guys can actually get these on your alts and do the vaults pretty easy. So again, you get the stones from the vaults, and to access the vault you need keys to get into the different rooms. And the keys are obtained by doing a bunch of stuff on the islands. And I think, with the keys being bind on account, I think it's just going to be super easy for you guys to acquire these keys. For example, if you just want to kill rares, you could just, farm the rares on a bunch of alts and just send the keys all over to one character if you want. And honestly, I think that's actually probably going to be one of the quicker ways to obtain them if you guys are not, a big fan of doing puzzles or just looting treasures. You can crush your primordial stones into fragments, which can be repurposed into an item upgrade of your favorite stones through your local jewel crafter. Now, it sounds to me like jewel crafting is the profession for this expansion, you guys. Not only do they craft the neck, which is heavily sought after by everybody, but this new system is pretty intricate into jewel crafting itself, so yeah, I think jewel crafting stonks are pretty high right now. And speaking of the fragments, so you can use the fragments that you break down with the stones to purchase newer ones from the researcher Iremath on the island. And while you can't buy specific stones, they do come in families, so you'll be able to target specific stones that you want. And I'm not sure about that last part, but it sounds to me like while you can't buy the specific stone that you want, you can maybe buy like a generic, like fire stone, and then you click it in your inventory and it randomly turns into one of those, targeted stones. So it sounds like there is a little bit of RNG there, but you can still at least kind of target that a little bit. And yeah, I really kind of like the idea of this. So not only is it easy to obtain the stones, but the fact that you can keep getting, useless ones for your spec and then just break them down and, eventually just outright get the one that you really want instead, I think it's going to really help and, serve as some really good bad luck protection. And it sounds to me like they did spend a lot of time with this system and trying to figure out how they can make this really friendly for players and, just really deterministic for them. And then primordial stones can also be unsocketed from the amulet. So basically it means that you can swap them in and out, try different combinations, and, just have some fun experimenting. And then the last bit he says, "Our intent here is to minimize random outcomes so that you can customize and experiment with your Onyx Annulet, similar to the Mechagon Trinket, the pocket-sized computation device. Being able to upgrade your favorite stones will also increase the item level of the ring up to 424, allowing its power to scale up in a deterministic way. Of course, given its maximum item level, we'll expect that you'll replace it with something better in Dragonflight Season 2. Thank you for your reading. We're excited to see what you do with them and how you feel when you get your hands on these. So overall to me, this sounds like it's, just an end of season catch-up mechanic. Is it borrowed power? I mean, yeah, but not the bad kind. First off, this ring has no stats on it, and I don't think that these are going to be a massive upgrade for somebody who's already decked out in full mythic rating gear. For me, the system just screams that it's a catch-up mechanic for lower item level players to help them, get those last couple of bosses killed on mythic, or help push the groups over to get AOTC. Overall, I think this is a really great idea and system. I think if Blizzard does borrowed power like this, then honestly, I'm all for it. It's better than nerfing boss fights at the end of the season, and they can just keep doing stuff like this instead of, rolling out patches every other week. But what are your guys' thoughts? Do you guys like the sound of this system? Has this blue post eased your fears, or are you guys still on team I hate this? Before you go, I would appreciate it if you guys would subscribe to my channel if you liked the video and want to see more stuff like this in the future. Thank you so much for checking out my content, and I will see you guys in the next one.